Have you ever gone to the market, looked at the dragon fruit display, and thought every fruit looked the samerd skin, green scales, perfect appearance so you just picked one? But then, once you got home and cut it open, it turned out to be bland, dry, and completely flavorless? If that's ever happened to you, you're not alone. And more importantly, it's something you can absolutely avoid. In today's video, I'm going to share the secrets to picking delicious dragon fruit tips that a longtime dragon fruit farm owner in the US once taught me. They might seem simple, but they're incredibly accurate and effective. With just a few seconds of proper observation, you'll be able to tell which ones are truly tasty, sweet, and juicy. I've used these tricks many times, and every time I've picked a good one. So don't take your eyes off this video because just a few minutes from now, you'll never pick the wrong dragon fruit again. First, let's talk about the shape of the dragon fruit. It might sound simple, but this is actually the first factor that helps you get a general idea of the fruit's quality inside. Just like people come in all shapes and size stall, short, thin, or heavy so do dragon fruit. Round and short fruits usually indicate balanced growth with proper sunlight and nutrients. These fruits tend to have thinner skin, thicker flesh, and more juice. When you eat them, you'll notice a naturally sweet, fragrant taste. On the other hand, long and skinny fruits often didn't grow as well, possibly due to lack of sunlight, poor soil, or uneven ripening. They usually have thicker skin, less flesh, and often taste bland or slightly sour. So my first tip is, always go for dragon fruits that are round, short, and plump. They should look full and juicy. Don't be fooled by those that are overly long or look too perfect in an unnatural way. There's a common mistake that many people make, especially when shopping at supermarkets or crowded markets, thinking that the bigger the fruit, the better. I used to think that too. But the truth is, unusually large fruits that look strangely perfect are often dragon fruits that have been treated with growth stimulants. They might look great on the outside, but inside they're bland, airy, and almost tasteless. And worse, eating too many of those isn't good for your health. Tip number 2, and this is one that most people overlook, is the spacing between the scales on the fruit's skin. Take a closer look at the dragon fruit's skin. Those green scales aren't just for decoration. The distance between them actually reveals how mature the fruit is and gives you a clue about its quality. Fruits with short, wide scales that are evenly spaced are usually naturally ripened and have absorbed plenty of sunlight. As a result, the flesh inside tends to be thicker, sweeter, and juicier. In contrast, fruits with long, twisted scales that are packed closely together usually didn't get enough sunlight or grew unevenly. These often have thicker skin, less flesh, and taste bland or slightly sour. This is a tip I always use when picking dragon fruit at American farmers markets, where there can be hundreds of good-looking fruits. But once you focus on the scales and the spacing between them, it becomes much easier to eliminate the lower quality ones. Tip number 3, the color of the skin and the freshness of the scales. Naturally ripened dragon fruit usually has a deep red or vibrant pink-red skin. The green scales should look fresh not, yellowed, or wilted. In particular, if the scales are slightly lifted, that's a sign the fruit has reached ideal ripeness. When you hold it, the fruit should feel heavy in your hand, with smooth, slightly moist skin. Picking fruit like this almost always guarantees sweetness and juiciness. On the other hand, if the skin has started turning yellow and the scales look wilted, dry, or have turned brown, that means the fruit has been sitting around too long and may no longer be fresh or of good quality. Some fruits may still look red and pretty, but if the scales are limp and soft, you should avoid them too. Always remember, paying attention to the color is an important part of choosing a good dragon fruit. Tip number 4. Now it's time to reveal the most important tip. Look at the base of the dragon fruit stem. Once the fruit is cut from the branch, the moisture inside begins to evaporate through the base, until it eventually dries out or even starts to rot. So take a close look at this spot. When you're buying dragon fruit, if you see that the base is still green and even slightly damp or has a bit of moisture seeping out when pressed, that means the fruit was freshly picked, extremely fresh, and at its peak flavor. On the other hand, If the base is dry, hard, or starting to turn black or brown, it means the fruit has been sitting out for days. Those fruits have likely lost moisture, taste dry and airy, and lack the natural sweetness. Some may even spoil quickly, so next time you're buying dragon fruit, pay close attention if the base is dry and starting to rot. Don't buy it. That's a clear sign of spoilage. This is a tip I learned from a farmer in California, and ever since then, I always check the base first, even before looking at the color or shape. Tip number 5. Here's a dragon fruit selection tip that may sound simple but is actually very effective. Compare the length of the tail, which is the long tapered end opposite the base where the fruit was once attached to the branch. If you look closely, you'll notice that dragon fruits with a short, slightly blunt tail are usually sweeter, have thinner skin, and are more juicy. That's because these fruits developed more evenly, absorbed plenty of natural sunlight, and ripened from the inside out without being stretched unnaturally due to imbalanced nutrient distribution. In contrast, fruits with long, pointed, or even slightly curved tails often grew too quickly or were stretched during the later stages of development, resulting in flesh that may be airy, less juicy, and sometimes less sweet. When you're shopping and not sure which one to pick, place 2 dragon fruits of similar size side by side and compare their tails. The one with the shorter, rounder tail is almost always the better choice. Many people overlook this detail, thinking, what could the tail possibly matter? But in reality, it's one of the clearest signs of whether the fruit grew in a stable, natural way. By observing just this one small feature, you can easily avoid bland dragon fruits and pick the sweetest, juiciest ones instead. Based on the color of the flesh, dragon fruit is generally divided into 2 common types. White flesh dragon fruit. Light, refreshing, easy to eat, and more affordable. Red flesh dragon fruit. In terms of flavor, it has a richer and sweeter taste. From a nutritional standpoint, red flesh dragon fruit contains more anthocyanins, which white flesh dragon fruit does not have. However, when it comes to price, red flesh dragon fruit generally costs more than the white variety on the market. So depending on your needs, you can choose the type that suits you best. Red flesh dragon fruit has a deeper flavor, is sweeter, and contains more anthocyanins that are beneficial to your health. If you value nutrition and vibrant color, red flesh dragon fruit is a great choice. It's often used in smoothie bowls, fruit salads, or as a topping for yogurt. But if you're just looking for a simple cooling snack that's easy to store and budget-friendly, white flesh dragon fruit is also a good option. That's the end of what I wanted to share in today's video. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know which part you liked the most. And if you have any other smart and effective ways to choose dragon fruit, please share them so we can all learn together. Hit the like button, share this video with your friends and family, and subscribe to the Click DIY channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming helpful videos. Thank you for your support. See you in the next videos helping make your kitchen simpler and your life a little sweeter every day.